Let me ask you a question. Do you have a coach? One of my missions of the show is to really uncover what a great coach can do for you. And in order to answer that, I have brought the top coaches in the industry to find out what a great coach can do. Today's guest is the coaches of coaches. It's a long interview, this one. Stick with it. It is fantastic. But before we get to that, let's do a little housekeeping, as always. Emails. Listen, I love to hear from you guys. And I love to hear what you guys are up to. So I really appreciate the many great conversation I've had with you. So keep them coming. And you know what I really love is when you guys actually take the time and go out of your way to leave a rating and review on iTunes. I've obviously told you how important it is. And for me, I feel validated when you guys actually take the time and show that you find value in what I'm doing here. So go to iTunes. And if you find value in these free coaching sessions, leave a rating and review. Tell a friend, reach out, send me an email. I try to respond, and I do respond. I shouldn't have said try. I do respond to all of the emails I get. And my personal email goes to my phone is Toby at superagentslive.com. Now, on to the show. Welcome to Super Agents Live. This is the one place where you can come and hear the most successful people in real estate. You'll hear how these super agents built their businesses, how they stay productive, and how they stay motivated. Who am I? My name's Toby Salgado, and I made my first million in real estate. And I'm your host for the next 30 minutes while we talk to yet another amazing real estate entrepreneur. Stay tuned.
Let's go! Yeah!
Today on the show, we have Bob Corcoran. Bob is the founder and president of Corcoran Consulting and Coaching, an international consulting and coaching company that specializes in performance coaching and the implementation of business systems into an agent's existing practice. Since forming this practice in 1989, Bob has worked with hundreds of top-producing agents worldwide in developing and implementing customized, growth-oriented business systems that are proven to increase their bottom lines. Corcoran's implementation has empowered agents to run efficient offices while harnessing the latest technology. Hey, Bob, thanks for taking the time out today.
Toby, it's such a pleasure to be here. I just love the super agent interviews because you're bringing the best of the best. And, as you say, we just want to go out and get the best and bring it to the best. And I think just the service you're doing to the industry and to the agents that are listening to your interviews, it's all about the implementation of it. So I'm excited about today's call.
Oh, right. Hey. Well, I gave a brief background for you, but Bob, tell us a little bit about yourself and your current business.
Well, I've been in business. The technical name for the company is Corcoran Consulting. What I realized when I got started in this business in real estate, kind of fell into it by accident as I had developed some IVR concepts in the United States. And when I was helping agents implement this new strategy into their business, I realized they didn't know anything about running a business. My background was in business management. And so I found that niche 25 years ago to simply help agents, set up their business and run it as a business. And, over the course of the 25 years, real estate is just, it's changed dramatically. But at the end of the day, we're still dealing with, buyers and sellers. The thing that's changed the most is the technology and what it allows us to do today. And so helping agents harness, that technology and what works and what doesn't work, we take the guessing out. Like I said, the name of the company is Corcoran Consulting. I added in coaching when everybody and their mother decided that they could be a real estate coach because people could not differentiate the difference between a coach and a consultant. Yeah. Here's my difference. A coach tells you what to do, Toby. A consultant like us, we actually show you what to do. We roll up our sleeves and we work with you. We work with your team, your support staff people. We're involved in the interview process, and it's teaching, agents who want to grow a business, how to run it like a business. So it's not about, it's about work-life balance, Toby.
Right.
In this world, like you said earlier, real estate can eat you up, can't it?
Absolutely.
And, we want to avoid that. Things like, some of our rainmakers that we work with, we say, hey, you work 50 hours a week, we work 5 days a week, you paint the canvas. What do we want to do? How do you want your life, to really look at, or how do you want your life to be? And it's not about, people think in order to sell 2, 3, 4, 900 homes that you got to work 168 hours a week. You can't. That's all there is. So we say you should never work more than 50 hours a week or less. And, we have clients that are working 30, 40 hours a week selling 400 or 500 homes.
Jeez.
But everyone's different, Toby.
Yeah, so I agree. And you touched on, I've interviewed lots and lots of super top performing agents, and this notion that you're talking about is, working on your business instead of in your business, right? Being able to go out and hire a team and replicate yourself comes up often. You've seen, you've dealt with everyone from selling the 2 houses a year to 900, which is incredible. For you in your 25 years, Bob, what do you think the biggest hurdle real estate entrepreneurs have to overcome in order to be successful?
To look at it as a business, to act like the chief executive officer of a corporation, because they just like, well, I'm just a real estate agent. Well, when you look at some of our teams, they're doing $100 million in sales. How many businesses in their market are selling $100 million in sales?
Very
they say, yeah, but I'm selling. Yeah, they say, yeah, but I'm selling houses. I said, fine. They're selling cars. Right. They're selling widgets. It doesn't matter. $100 million is $100 million.
Yep.
And so it's really to help them elevate their thought process as a chief executive. And as soon as we point that out to them, you say, look, you're selling $30 million in sales you have. How many businesses in your marketplace have sales of $30 million? And usually there's not a lot.
Yeah.
And so when they start thinking, they sit a little taller in their chair, Toby. They're going, wow, I am the CEO of a major corporation. That's the light bulb that goes up. That's the aha moment. And that right there is when true growth can begin, when you start thinking like a chief executive officer and instead of a real estate agent.
So once I start to make that shift, Bob, I go, hey, you know what? I'm not an agent, but I am the CEO of a major corporation. I need to roll up my sleeves, and now what? I need to create a plan. Walk us through the steps of that mind shift. What am I going to start to do tomorrow differently than I did today when I have shifted that mindset?
Well, I think once you make the decision to shift the mindset, it's not just a matter of like turning a switch. As we all been taught, it takes 21 days to instill new habits. So in order to make the shift, number one, find yourself an accountability partner. Hire a coach to help you make that shift. That'd be my first recommendation, actually. But you need that accountability in place and to do the things that a chief executive officer does. So if you're starting out and you say, all right, I want to be the CEO, what do I need to do? Well, then first paint the vision. What do you want your company to look like? But you need somebody to hold you accountable to what that vision is. So it's write down the vision, find somebody to hold you accountable to that vision and the steps and items you need to do on a daily basis to help you truly achieve, that millionaire mindset, that CEO mindset. Because for most agents, you're still going to work in your business, which is working with the buying and selling public. But a lot of you need to learn to work on the business, which means I'm doing my marketing plans, I'm doing budgets, I'm reviewing my sales, I'm reviewing the MLS statistics. But you have to have time scheduled every single day to work on your business. And so how it looks, you got to start every day by working on the business. You don't just jump out of bed and start diving yourself right into real estate. Take time in the morning to plan your day, review your day. What do you have going on? And then implement the strategies that you put in place for yourself.
Right. So you have that vision, you get that accountability person, create your budget, you look at your figure out where you're going to deploy your marketing dollars. And I would imagine sometimes, Bob, it's hard to, you get into all this planning and you get lost in, should you be planning or selling today? And I guess that's where it comes back to you need to have that accountability or coaching person on your team.
Right. When we first, a client, first comes on board with us, it doesn't matter if it's a brand new agent starting out in real estate or somebody who's already selling 200-300. The number one complaint they come to us with, Toby, is I'm working way too many hours. My wife hates real estate. Okay, so it's all about putting the boundaries in, but you must have that accountability. If you think you're going to hold yourself accountable, well, then you got a fool as a boss. so, the whole thing is that accountability piece of it. And, ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to realize, I don't care what your goal is. No person can ever tell you your goal is unrealistic. I'll have people that say, well, I'm hiring you, Bob, so I'm going to go from 100 to 300 transactions in 12 months. I said, it took you 15 years to get to 100. What makes you think I can get you to 300? Well, your reputation. I said, yeah, but you know what? You got to be the right agent then. You got to be willing to do what it takes to help yourself get to that point. And that's where a lot of people fall short. Doing 300 homes may sound like, oh, wow, that's exciting. But, at the end of the day, it's got to come down to mentally. And part of it, Toby, really comes down to, how do you view money? A lot of people have a poverty mentality. And so they may, you take an average sale price of $200,000, at 3%, it's a $6,000 commission. You might be on an 80-20 with your broker. So you're making $4,800. You're selling 50 homes. You're making $240,000. And people say, I'm comfortable. And they stop right there. Well, the way I look at it, if God gives you the ability to create wealth, then don't deny God is playing because he has a plan for the money. Once people overcome that poverty mentality, you know what, making $240,000, yeah, it's great. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but if you have the ability to make $500,000, why wouldn't you take that opportunity, Toby?
I don't know. Why would you? I mean, I would. I have.
It sounds good. A lot of people, they say they will, but they're unwilling to put the effort in to do what it takes to do that extra $500,000. So it's changing our mental concepts of first how we look at money. What is our plan for money? Also part of working on your business is planning your retirement. It's it's not like you have somebody paying into Social Security. Okay, you're an independent contractor, so hire a financial planner and decide how much money you need, okay, to retire on. And so that's all part of running your business, and it's looking at the holistic approach of what is being a real estate agent really all about. And why am I doing it? And are you doing it because you're passionate? You got to be passionate about people, because in this industry, you really got to look at yourself. You're here to serve people. Right. You're here to serve buyers and sellers. And for most of these people, you have to be confident enough to help them make the largest financial, decision that most people will make in their lives. And so what are you doing to sharpen your saw as a real estate agent? What books are you reading? One of our company's core values is seek wisdom. We constantly are putting out, here's our book of the month, that we want, people to read. And there are things on leadership. It might be a book, it might be a CD, but what are you doing to sharpen your saw to better yourself today than you were yesterday? And, we do our weekly team calls, with our company as well, and it's what's the one thing you did to make yourself better this week? And it's not just about work, Toby. Hey, you know what? I made it a point every morning to sit down with my wife for a half hour before I went off to work. Wow, that made your communication and your relationship with your wife a lot better, which eventually will make your real estate career a lot better.
Right. So all this stuff thematically is we're getting back to this work-life balance. We're talking about mentality. So let's go back to your mental state. So most people start off with a poverty mentality. You have to break through that and shed that kind of mentality. We as real estate folks, we are in a world where we're dealing with no's all the time. We're getting kicked in the teeth every day. We hear no's all day long. And sometimes when you hear too many no's, you feel like you want to quit. How does somebody, in terms of mentality, how do they just sharpen their mindset where they can push through that roadblock and get to success?
Well, again, it's a mind shift, Toby. Okay, are they really saying no to you, or are they really saying yes?
Or not
Look
yet.
at it that way. Too many people say no, and they pack it up and they go home, or do you want to buy a house? No, and they hang up. The best question that every person needs to learn how to ask is the question, why? Too many people take no as an attack on them personally. Right. No, you just gotta. It's all your mindset. I always say every time you get a no, you're one answer question closer to a yes. So it's the mindset and the anchors you put on it. Too many people, they focus on the negative. I mean, that's what the world is. We're taught to focus on the negative. Look at the news. I don't even watch the news anymore. It's all negative. Okay, you read the newspaper. It's old news. Why am I reading old news?
Right.
Okay, it's all the mental state we have to do. And, one of the things that keeps me going every single day, I have an affirmation I say every single day before my feet hit the ground. It's today is my own special miracle. Only I can make it happen. Only I can make it meaningful. With God's help, let's go. And then I'm up out of bed. But that is my first thought of the day. And my last thought before I go to sleep and shut my eyes is how much I love my wife.
Wow.
And so I'm going to bed with a right mindset. I'm waking up with just on fire because I've been blessed to be given another day to make a difference in a person's life. So just change your mindset, Toby, and say, choose to wake up with a different attitude. People say, well, I'm not a morning person, or I wake up, I'm tired. I tell people, yeah, plenty of time to be tired when you're dead.
Right.
You know what, Toby? It's living each day like it truly is the last day. Living the day to say, today I get to make a difference.
Right.
And I go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, this comes back to what you said earlier, having that servant's heart. Go out and
Yes.
serve people.
Yeah. You know what? We rarely, when we're talking about goal setting with agents and things like that, we rarely talk about money. The only time we talk about money is when we're looking at a profit and loss statement. We review those on a monthly basis with our clients or quarterly basis, okay, or we're putting budgets together. That's when we talk about money. Like right now, all of our clients are in the final stages of finalizing their sales goals for 2014. I don't care how much you want to sell. I don't care if you tell me you want to sell 20 million, 30 million, or 40 million. The question I ask every single client: how many families do you want to serve next year? The money from your marketing or the price point in your marketplace, that'll take care of itself. If you want to sell $500,000 homes, then do you hang with $500,000 people?
Right.
If you want to sell $500,000 homes and you hang around with people that rent, probably not going to be very successful at it. So it's really identifying what kind of market do you want, and then invest yourself into that market. Okay, go with people who live in $500,000 houses. Go. Join chambers of commerces. Go to the after-hours meeting. Meet other business owners. But it all comes down to you focus on serving people. So you see, this is where we can also start taking out the poverty mentality. If I tell somebody if they have a $200,000 average sale price, which the average commission would be $6,000, if they say they wanted to make $500,000, well, let's say they want to make $600,000. It'll just make it easier. Then I would say, okay, would you rather serve 100 people, or make $600,000? 9 out of 10 people will say, I want to sell 100 homes. It's easier. But it's the same number. It's the same number, isn't it?
Right.
But, when you break it down, 100 homes, that's what? 8 a month? Would you rather sell 100 homes or 8.5 a month? It's the same number. Most people pick 8.5 a month. We break goals down by historical data from each multiple listing service. Because when someone says, well, I want to close 3 deals a month, I say, well, do you want to close 3 a month, or do you want to close 36? Because, Toby, those are 2 different numbers.
Yeah, break that down a little bit.
Well, how homes are closed in most markets? Okay, the peak closing months are April, May, June, July, and August.
Right.
So if you say I want to close 36, well, is it really 3 a month? No, because 36 might only be 2 in January, 2 in February, 3 in March, 4 in April, 5 in May, 5 in June, 5 in July, based upon how homes and how people buy in a market.
Right.
So when someone says I want to do 3 a month, what happens? When you look at the historical data of the MLS and you say, well, gee, at 36, I only needed 1 closing in January, and so all of a sudden you say, I want to close 3 a month. Well, you close 1, you already feel defeated, and it's only January. Right? You've already are 2 behind your goal. Then February comes. And maybe according to historical data, you should only have 1 closing in February to hit 36. Well, you close 1. Now you're 4 behind after 2 months. Most agents give up right there in February. So we say do it smart, okay? Base it on the historical data of how homes are closed, and we average it over years from a multiple listing service to show agents it's not 3 a month, it's 36 a year. So it's allowing yourself to set up realistic goals to give you an opportunity to achieve the goal, because nothing is more frustrating than setting goals you never can achieve.
Yeah.
And as a consultant, Toby, our job is to push you. If you tell me, Bob, I want to close 36, I said, really, Toby, why? I can get you to 50 in a matter of 2 minutes, but you'll make that decision. And the sad thing is you're going to say, I made you set that goal. I can't make you do anything. You have to allow it.
Right.
People need to take ownership for the responsibilities of the decisions they make. And just dare to dream. You know, our clients, sometimes they can't even talk to other agents in their market, okay? Because, we're in the process of setting goals now, like I said, and, my private clients, will probably close on an average of 300 properties with the private people I personally coach. Now think of that, 300 homes. And our average client has a 47% increase in their first 12 months with us. So if you say you're selling, 100 homes, nothing less than 150 or 200 would be your goal for next year. It's the hardest thing for every agent. There's a couple of stepping stones that agents make when we look at how many homes an agent sells. The first stepping stone is getting an agent to sell 25 homes. The hardest thing is getting an agent to go from 25 to 75 transactions, because they're in that monetary comfort zone. I'm making a lot of money. I'm comfortable. I don't have too much debt. Once they break through the poverty mentality, getting them to 100 transactions, that is the ultimate mental threshold. Once an agent gets to 100 closed sales a year, then it's doubling. My philosophy is if you're selling 100, then the goal next year is 200. When we sell the 200, then the next year's goal is 400. It's going to be easier to take you from 200 to 400 than it is from 0 to 100 because of the mental blocks you have.
So let's unpack that a little bit. So the hardest hurdle is 25. So once you can get to 25, here's what I'm hearing out of that, Bob, and tell me if I'm wrong. So you need to have a certain kind of strategy, a working strategy. You need to have tactical moves or tactics that work. Once you can get the strategy and tactical stuff down right, you can get to 25. Getting from 25 to 75, you're replicating the same strategies and tactics, but it's your mindset. It's not the strategy, it's not the formula, but it's your mindset that stops most people from getting to the 75? Is that correct?
I'd say that's about 80% of it. The other 20% is going to be leverage, okay? Because to sell 50 homes, where are you going to get, there's only 24 hours in a day.
Right.
So, an agent can do 50 homes by themselves, but now if they want to get to that 75, they're going to push themselves, and all they're going to do is destroy their marriages, ruin their family relationships, because they wind up putting in more hours every day. And before they know it, okay, the family hates them and they wonder why. Well, you're a workaholic. So it's looking at it as a business. If you owned a restaurant, would you be the only employee of your restaurant?
No, impossible.
Well, right. Well, it's really impossible to do so much in real estate, whether I am hiring, client care people or administrative people to work and do my non-dollar productive work, whether I'm hiring buyer agents to come on my team because I can't get back to all the buyer leads. So why not create an opportunity for somebody who you can mentor in real estate and bring them on board as a buyer agent? Because quite frankly, you're throwing the leads in the garbage anyway, so what difference does it make?
Right.
So it's teaching the concepts of leveraging your time versus hiring other people to assist you. And I would say the first employee that every real estate agent needs to hire is a great contact manager.
Okay. And what would that? What would that person?
That's your first employee.
Right. And so break down the role and responsibility of that person.
Well, when you look at a CRM, let's say Top Producer, it's a great contact management system for real estate.
Yeah.
Not only a contact manager, it's a lead incubator, it's a transaction management. Well, when you're using technology to help you leverage your time, a lot of agents do things manually. Well, by using, let's say, Top Producer and then the action plans associated with it, you put a new listing in, you launch an action plan, and every day the computer tells you what to do on that listing. You're not picking up the file and thumbing through paper and say, where am I?
Right.
But because The computer tells you what to do every day. So for an agent, if they're selling 100 homes, they have a client care person, they're overwhelmed doing 100 manually. As soon as you start electronic action plans, that same client care coordinator can do 175 or 200 transactions.
Got it. And
so it's learning the tools that are out there to make your life, have a better life, and be more efficient at what you do, so that you as an agent can do what you're passionate about, which is list and sell.
And so for that person, okay, I'm just right, and that makes tons of sense. Leverage technology, replicate yourself, go out and hire your first employee. At what point, and you've seen, hundreds, probably thousands of people, build their businesses right, both the right way and the wrong way. At what point should a person start to go out and build that team, hire that contact management person?
Again, I'd say the day you open your doors.
Got it.
I'll give you an example here. I had an agent, she had hired me in October, I think in October of the year, and she was moving to a brand new market. She had no name recognition whatsoever. So she hired me 2.5 months before she was going to even appear. So through that, we started putting all the systems in place that she would need from a contact management perspective, from action plans to manage the listings. Now, this woman had a millionaire mindset already, okay? She knew how to be successful in real estate. But she's moving to a brand new market with no name recognition. So we hired a full-time client care coordinator in November who started January 2nd. We hired a full-time buyer agent in November to start January 2nd. On January 2nd, I show up at her office. The whole team meets for the very first time.
Oh, wow.
That year, she closed 111 properties.
Out of the gate. Unbelievable.
Out of the gate, and she's never looked back since. I mean, this year she'll close 600 properties in a city with a population of 55,000 people.
How is that even possible?
It's all about leveraging and running it as a business. I'm not a huge believer in these huge teams that are out there. We focus things on per agent productivity. We focus on efficiencies. That's one of the things we do is we don't just coach the rainmaker. We coach the entire team, and that's the major difference between us and other companies. Because as a rainmaker, you can only do so much, but we have to show the people that you have hired to leverage your time to make sure they know how to answer the telephone. They know how to use their CRM. They know how to prospect. They know lead management, time management. So we get involved with the entire team. And the more you're involved with the entire team, Toby, the more efficient each agent becomes. So in this particular team at 600 properties, she has 5 buyer agents and 2 listing agents. So that's 7 licenses selling 600 homes.
So let's talk about time management, because that's we're touching on that in a lot of different ways. And you coach the whole team. I did not know that. That's really, really interesting. For the agent, and this, what's her name? I don't know if you can.
Lisa Burridge. Okay. Lisa Burridge.
Okay, for Lisa.
And
go ahead.
In Casper, Wyoming.
Got it. Unbelievable. 55,000 people. So,
yeah.
So how does Lisa? What does her day look like? Or when she started, she had her first hire. She had a team now. What does her day look? How does she manage her day to go from 0 to 111? Year one.
But everything is structured. We help our clients put together an ideal weekly schedule. Well, first and foremost, we talked about the CEO mindset, and then once you gain that CEO mindset, everything centers around time management. My acronym for time is that is my excuse. TIME, that is my excuse. Personalize it. This is my excuse. We can find time to do anything we want, Toby, if we want it bad enough.
Right.
I can go to an agent and say, I got an all-expense-paid trip to Hawaii. We're going for 10 days. You have 5-star resorts. You got airfare. Do you want to go? It's free to you. Yeah, when are we leaving? Tomorrow. Oh, I got 3 listing appointments. You know what? I can put them off till I get back.
Right.
Okay? You're right. We find time for everything we want. So we teach our clients to put together an ideal weekly schedule. So somebody like Lisa, it's all about you have time, a standalone real estate agent that's with no buyer agents. They may have some support staff working with them. But an agent gets paid to list, prospect, sell, and negotiate. Those are the only 4 things that an agent gets paid to do. Everything else is non-dollar productive. So first thing we want to do is differentiate what is your work, your dollar productive activities versus non-DPA. day. We say, let's go out and hire somebody to do a majority of our non-dollar productive work. So in Lisa's case, every day starts with office work. That's her voicemails, that's her personal emails. That takes her about 20 minutes. The next 10 minutes, she does a daily huddle with her she does a 15-minute huddle every day with her support staff. What's going on? What happened yesterday that I need to know about? What do you guys have scheduled today? Is anybody behind? Does anybody need extra work? Okay, so they handle all operational things first thing in the morning within a half hour that she's there. Next huddle she holds is the sales huddle. The listing partners and buyer agents come into a daily huddle. Her support staff huddles at 8:30. Her agent huddles at 8:45. So she goes huddle from support staff. Then she huddles with her entire sales team, says, let's talk about our leads from yesterday, lead accountability, what were the results of your prospecting from yesterday, and what dollar productive activities do you have scheduled today. So that is done at 9 o'clock. She goes back and she does maybe 15 more minutes of office work of different things she got from the huddle that she needed to take care of or to delegate to somebody. Now she's free, okay, and she'll do her follow-up calls right after she takes care of that stuff. She'll go to lunch. She comes back from lunch, does follow-up calls and appointments in the afternoon. She generally leaves the office by 6 o'clock every single night, Monday through Friday. She does not work on weekends.
Wow.
And she just now started leaving at 1 o'clock on Fridays.
Good for her. She's cracked the code.
But I'm sorry.
I was saying. I mean, she's cracked the code. I mean, this is why this show is on. I mean, we love to hear these kind of stories, and I would love to get Lisa on the show and have her. You know, I don't know where she'd schedule it. Maybe Friday after 1, but. You know,
I can personally make sure she guarantees time for you, Toby.
I would love that. So yeah, time management, is that part of, getting rid of that poverty mindset? The opposite of that is having an abundance mindset, right? So
correct.
Folks like Lisa, as well as yourself, you've figured out how to balance work and your personal life in ways that are productive for both parts of your life.
Right.
Is that a key component in your coaching sessions or mentoring sessions?
It's actually it is the center of it. Okay, because what changed my life was really Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Right.
Okay, it's find something you love to do, create a business, and figure out how to make money from it. I fell into this niche. Nobody was doing, the twist I put on it, teach them to be the CEO. And I'm just passionate about helping people grow. Nothing is more satisfying for, an agent. I had an agent when he started with me, he was like 31 years old, and I told him by the time you're 35, you're going to be bored in real estate. He was selling 62 homes, and in 3 years, he went from 62, he'll close about 500 this year. His rental properties went from 2 or 3 rental properties. Now he has 15 rentals, free and clear with no mortgage. A month ago, he says, 3 years ago, he told me I'd be bored. He goes, I got to tell you, I'm bored.
Right.
Now is when the true growth can come in, Toby.
How so?
Once we get you to the point where you're selling $80 million, okay, you're having a great income. At 35, doesn't have to work another day in his life.
Right.
And he built it all in the last 3 years. It's about creating that mentality of abundance, even if you're damn broke. How about a client? She got into real estate. She was on food stamps. Had 2 small kids, aged 9 and 7. Okay, she did. All she did was every single day, 5-6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. She got her little red wagon, put her 2 kids in the wagon, went door to door, said, "Hi, my name is so and so. I'm in real estate. If you know anybody thinking to buy or sell, here's my card." Her first year sold 149 homes.
Wow.
Majority of it by door knocking. So people say, well, that's old school. All right, are you selling 149? No, I like old school.
Right, I'll take it.
That's it. And the whole thing is if agents really focus on the basics of business, it's not about, technology is extremely important, but it's not the be-all and end-all to every business. Technology is used to make our lives easier. A lot of times agents take on so much technology, now you got to hire a full-time IT person, just take care of all the damn technology that you don't use.
Right. Well,
and so focus on the basics of business. A real estate agent gets paid to list, prospect, sell, and negotiate, period. And that's all they can do.
I was going to say, talking about technology, a lot of times I see people
particularly aspiring agents, they tend to a little bit hide behind technology, right? So they market through social media, and they go, okay, I've done my marketing, it's not working, right? Instead of going out and doing, getting that face-to-face interaction that is so helpful.
Well, here's a good one, Toby. How many agents sell a house to somebody they never talked
to? Right.
How many houses do you sell where you never meet the buyer or seller?
Yeah.
So this is a face-to-face, belly-to-belly business. Now, yes, there are some deals done where I don't have to talk to the person. We find that a lot in our military markets.
Got it.
Okay? But that's a rarity. So don't focus on those one or two deals you've done in your lifetime because you never talked to them. This is an ear-to-ear, belly-to-belly business about picking up the telephone, making a phone call. And that's what it's all about, is just making the phone call. But you got to learn what to say, and that's one thing people, they say, well, Bob, I don't know what to say. How about, hi, this is Bob, how are you? Hi, this is Bob with ABC Real Estate, how are you today? And I go, what else should I say? You think you can pick it up from hello? But we do boot camps throughout the year, and last week we had a listing mastery boot camp. So we had agents come in here for training. It was a 2-day boot camp. The first day we go a half day, 9 to 9, 12 hours. 12 hours only half day, Toby. See the mindset?
Yeah.
The mindset. 12 hours is a half day, right? Most people, oh, no. Well, so and we set goals, and we had 36 agents prospecting for listings, and they set 89 appointments in 2 hours. That's amazing. Okay, and one guy, he was calling expireds. He goes, Bob, he goes, you know what? I prefer to work with buyers, and I just don't like sellers. He goes, but I learned through your coaching that, he who owns the listings owns the market. So I've decided to break through a big barrier I had in my real estate career, and I'm going to prospect expireds tonight. I am petrified. Well, we practice scripts, we role play, and go over and over and over. And I admire the man. He's been in the business 15 years, and he had this fear about him. He felt confident enough and took that leap by saying, I'm going to call expireds, okay? And he set 5 appointments.
Good for him.
In 2 hours. He goes, if I knew it was this easy, I would have did it 15 years ago. I said, well, you need somebody to break you through your wall of fear. Because, you know what? People fear things they never experienced. Doesn't make sense to me. So for the whole mindset, it's all about mind shifting and constantly seeking wisdom. Surround yourself in your office with things that make you happy. And that's what it's all about. And also eat your frog first thing in the morning.
Right, that's a big one.
Because that paralyzes people throughout a day, and they don't get anything done.
Yeah, and it just looms over them, and then until finally they do that thing that they're dreading, and they realize, well, number one, you get a huge. I'm terrible at that. And one of I hate doing my taxes. I hate it. I wait till the last minute, and I wait till the last minute, and it's on my mind at night, and it's on my mind in the morning, and finally I just get down. Get everything together, send it to my CPA, and once that happens, Bob, I'm free, and I realize, man, it was not that bad.
It never is. See, I live in a world that says no job is too small to outsource.
Got it.
No job's too small to outsource. You're paranoid about doing your taxes. You don't do them. Your CPA does them. You got to change your mental mindset. It's not you doing them. All you got to do is provide your profit and loss statement to your CPA. You got the receipts if he wants them. I doubt it, because he has your profit and loss statement.
Right.
You send him an electronic file of your profit and loss statement. He does your taxes. Why are you paranoid about it?
Well, I actually have to create that P&L. I have to go find all my receipts. I have to create the P&L, and then I'm scared to death of what it's going to cost me. It's how big of a check am I going to have to write? That's the thing that frightens me.
You know what? Here's the way I look at my taxes. I got a positive attitude for everything, Toby. I look at it this way: we live in the best land in the world. Okay, it's the land of the free, and it costs a lot of money to give me my freedom. And I always say, if the Lord has blessed me by making an abundant income, I'm happy to help those less fortunate than me. Right. How big can I write my check?
There you go. Servant mindset.
It all comes to the positive mindset, the millionaire mindset. It's sharpening your saw, whether it's listening, to your interviews you put out. You should be listening to those things over and over. See, seeking wisdom is not only what we read, but what we listen to. We listen to the radio in the car. Why not put a motivational CD in there instead of listening to the radio?
Right.
Okay, I mean, you go back and everybody knows their favorite song. They can sing the words, and you and I both know they never practiced the words. They just heard the song over and over and over. You put a motivational CD in your car, and you just keep listening to it over and over and over, and one day you're going to wake up, and you will be a changed person.
Bob, I'll tell you, I love this interview, and I feel good. I'm not sure, but I like the stuff. And this, by the way, for everybody in the audience, this is not a commercial for Bob. I'm not meaning to do this. I truly am enjoying what I'm hearing from him. And what I was going to say, Bob, is, you coach real estate folks, but really, it sounds to me like your coaching is more. It's more about life coaching. It seems like you could coach athletes, other business people that do not sell real estate.
Well, we do. We actually do corporate coaching outside of real estate in January. See, here's the way I look at what I do. I'm a business consultant, okay? I help people set their businesses up the way they're supposed to, the way to win, okay? However, I look at it this way. Life gets in the way. And when life gets in the way, we have to slow down a little bit, take care of life so that the business can keep moving forward. And, whether it's you have problems in your marriage, people that don't admit to me, Bob, I'm an alcoholic, I'm a drug addict, Bob, I want to commit suicide. Mm-hmm. Life gets in the way, Toby, and we take what we do, with a very soulful heart that, God has put us in these people's life to help them have a better life. And that's really the passion, what we do. But life does get in the way. Okay, we also do life coaching as another pillar of our coaching company. Okay, and we do the personal coaching. How about through Augmentino? Okay, and so we just feel blessed that we're able to offer so many services to so many people, and that's what it's all about. Is just people understand that there's a solution to everything. And if I have one piece of advice, there's always two. Number one is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So understand where people are coming from, and then they can understand your position. Focus on the positive and focus on the solution. When you live a life that says, focus on the positive, focus on the solution, you can't have problems, Toby, because everything in the world has a solution, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so if you just have that mindset, focus on the positive, focus on the solution. And I always say when you're looking at eating those frogs, the question I always say is, what is the worst thing that can happen to me? As long as the worst thing that can happen to me isn't death, then I'm okay.
Right.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you got to make a phone call. You may lose a seller. It's not death. And look at how much negative energy that seller was causing you.
Right.
By getting rid of that negative, vibe in your life and surrounding yourself with people who are positive and teaching people how to be positive, you're going to have a much better gifted life. People have to believe they have the right to feel special. And go out and take on the world every single day like it's the last day you're alive.
I think you're doing that today, Bob. I don't know if you have this kind of energy all the time, but
24/7, 24/7.
How do you? Bob, you're an older guy. You're certainly older than me. How do you what do you do? Like a bunch of coffee, or how do you? Is it?
Nope. I drink decaffeinated coffee all day long. It's a choice. I have a choice to be high energy. I have a choice to have no energy. I choose to have energy. And when you choose, okay, you're in control. And by focusing on the positive and the solution, it's beautiful. I'm this way at home. I think, people have different, when we look at behavioral and personality styles, people generally have a personality they want the public to see. Then they have a personality how they are with their friends and their family.
Yeah.
And then they have a personality of when they're alone in a room.
Right.
I strongly recommend you be the same person no matter what. Let people see who you are. Be transparent. When you can learn to be the same person 24/7, you'll have less stress in your life because you're not pretending to be something you're not. With me, and you can ask 100 people, does Bob have this energy? And they'll tell you from the day I met him, 20 years later, he still has the same energy. It's, being, what do you want to hang your hat on, Toby? We hear it all the time. Well, I'm not feeling well. All right, you got plenty of time to be sick when you're dead.
Right. I'll tell you, going back to the thing you just said about being your true self, being your authentic self, and that's something that I'm working on personally right now, and because I have, it doesn't come off in this interview, but sometimes I have sort of an abrasive attitude, and it's because basically, if I want something, I go get it, and I sometimes will knock people down, and that's something I'm personally really trying to work on, and I'm starting to get okay with, not everybody's going to like me, and that's okay, but the people who do like me, and they can see past my, potential, sometimes abrasiveness, that's okay too.
Well, number one, I think if you remove the word try from your vocabulary, you say, I'm trying to do this. Eliminate the word try. Make a decision to be authentic or not be authentic. Quit trying to be authentic.
Right.
Every time you try, you will fail. Make a choice to do it. And also you'll get some, we call it 360 feedback. In our company, I run the company, we teach our clients as well. I run my company on 3 tenets. Number one, we only hire self-managed and self-disciplined people out of Jim Collins' book, From Good to Great. Okay? The 5 dysfunctions of a team by Patrick Lencioni. Adhere to the dysfunctions. Identify the dysfunction on in your life. Okay, and then our company's core values. So I run the company of these 3 tenets, and I say everybody must be self-managed, self-disciplined. As long as everybody is doing what they're supposed to do, any team member, see, I don't hire employees because an employee stabs you in the back.
Right.
I hire a team member because they'll stab you in the chest. I want people to be authentic with me. If you don't like something I say it to my face, not behind my back. And as long as, any person in my company can fire, we don't say the word fire, we use the word release. You're released from the company. See how much more powerful that is than you're fired?
Right, yep.
You're released. Go be somebody else's hassle because you're not going to be mine anymore. But any person in the company can release another team member if they intentionally disregard one of those 3 tenets.
Wow.
They don't need to check with me. They can release them.
Wow.
And it's happened once. And I had to honor it. The guy intentionally stepped on the tenet, we don't try, we do it. And he simply said to this person, no, you're right, you heard me, I'm going to try. That's intentionally stepping on the culture. She released him on the spot.
Unbelievable. What an interesting corporate culture.
You know what? It's fun because, life is hard, okay? But it's our environment. We get to create our environment. Our environment, it sounds like nirvana, and it is. But it's an extremely difficult culture to survive in because you cannot be negative, Toby. And imagine, every real estate agent wasn't allowed. Now, you're allowed to vent. Okay, but you're not allowed to be negative. That means I need to get this off my chest and I move on. Negative is just, you meet people and you walk away and go, oh, that person's so negative. And so you're not going to hang around them, are you?
No.
Then don't hire them to begin with.
Right.
And that's the whole thing is identify your culture as a real estate agent. If you want to grow your team, grow your business, you got to learn the art of leverage. Most importantly, when you get into the hiring process, you got to have a hiring process. We provide all of those systems to our clients, hiring processes, hiring checklists, job descriptions, compensation guidelines, policy handbooks, and everything we do is customized to our clients' needs. We're not a cookie cutter. We don't take the cookie cutter approach. We're not one size fits all. And that's what what's really different is. So I think is your listeners are saying, what do I really want to do with my business? I'm going to say dare to dream. If you're closing 30 homes, dare to go for 60. If you're closing 60, dare to go for 100. Once you get to 100, it should be nothing less than doubling. 100 to 200, 200 to 400. Usually we start hitting 400. You remember I said that mental block was 100 transactions?
Yeah.
The next mental block becomes after 400.
It just seems too
And
big.
so it's that 400 to 500 area of units sold in a year. So once a client hits 400, we'll usually set a goal of only about 550. Because I know over 25 years of doing this stuff, I'm going to hit mental blocks. Once I hit the 550, then I'm looking at 750, and then I'm looking at 1,000. It'll be easier to go from 750 to 1,000 than 0 to 100.
You're touching on something, and we're running way, way over on this. So hopefully, everybody out in the audience, thanks for sticking with it. And if you have to cut out and go back to it again, you can just go to superagentslive.com/Bob Corcoran, and you can pick up where you left off. But, I'll tell you, for me, Bob, something that as because I've had some success in my life. And when I started really making money, and the most successful year I had, I paid taxes on $982,000. Right, that was my most successful year. And when I had that year, Bob, I was doing the work, and I didn't feel like I was having a mental block to get there. But when I got there, I felt guilty. I felt like I'm not, and I struggled with it for a long time. I felt guilty. I felt like I shouldn't have this kind of, I shouldn't be making that kind of money when so many other people that were on my staff were not making anything near that. And that's something I struggled with. I don't know if that's something that you see.
It's very normal. I remember I have 5 brothers and a sister, 6 kids in my family, 7 kids in my family, and we grew up on government surplus food. I have 5 brothers, and my sister is the youngest. I didn't get my first brand new pair of Levi's until I was in the 7th grade. I remember it like it was yesterday. I got the light blue, skin-tight Levi's. They were my first pair of brand new Levi's, because I always got hand-me-downs being the fourth son.
Right.
And I remember at that moment, I was just so proud of those pants I said I would never want. Okay, and so as I built my life, and you just got to have a drive, but you got to have great mentors. I have great mentors along the way in my life, and I'm so grateful for those mentors. And every once in a while, I reach out and just let them know what a difference they made in my life 30 years ago. I mean, I talked to the people for 5 years, but when I think of them, I got to call them. And so, but my last mental break was my mother. My mother worked 2 full-time jobs. She was a registered nurse, and I was so embarrassed for her to come see my house, because it was an 8,400 square foot house on a private lake surrounded by woods. Okay? She walked into the house for the first time, puts her arms around me and says, "Robert, I can't tell you how proud I am of you."
Oh, that's a great feeling.
And I think all of your listeners, we all long for that acceptance, especially from a parent. And that moment when she said that, "I am so proud of you," that is actually where I feel my poverty mentality went away, because I was still hanging on to it. I was afraid to show Mom my success. And that only happened 6 years ago.
Wow.
And so now, I'll tell you, the last 6 years have been just like a dream. I just feel so blessed because, I believe that anything that we want, we can have, but you have to identify what it is you want. And so, like where you talked about, you felt guilty, about making that kind of money. That's part of the poverty mentality, Toby. And so it's partitioning. Those people that you employed, okay, they chose to be employed by you. You chose to start a business. And so there are people who choose to start businesses, and there are people who choose, they don't want to go through the stress, so they choose to work for somebody else. And that's how you mentally have to do it, is to say, hey, it's their choice. It's their choice if they want to take a position with you that pays, $25 or $30 or $40,000 while you're making $980. That's another reason in real estate why we don't talk about money, Toby.
Why is that?
We don't talk about you making $980,000 because those people that are making $30 go, wow, look at, he made $980 and all he paid me was $30.
Right.
That's why we talk about how many families do you want to serve.
Right. That's
one of the main reasons we talk about units versus money.
Interesting. Man, that is good. Listen, Bob, I could literally talk to you for another 3 hours, but we have to wrap this up. Let's get to the Ask the Agent round, and maybe in the future, I'd love to have you on the show again, and we can talk about something very specific that you think, is a stumbling block for aspiring agents out there. But So here's the Ask the Agent round. This is where I fire off questions, and you come back at me with answers that will help each of our audience members move the needle in their own businesses. All right.
Excellent.
If you could recommend only one book, what would it be?
The Bible? Besides the Bible, how's that one? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say The Traveler's Gift by Andy Andrews.
That's a first. Traveler's Gift. What's that about?
It's about 7 principles of life. It's about how we get to choose to do things, and we get to choose to be happy. We get to choose to be responsible for our choices. It's all about historical figures that made a choice that changed the world. Okay, and it is an unbelievable. He's just an unbelievable. It's a business book, but yet it's not a business book. Yeah. However, the principles in the book are just amazing when you start applying them to your life every day.
Sounds
one of the principles are persist without exception. Okay, it's like the buck stops here. That's persisting without exception. So it talks about the historical figures and the significance they had on life, on this world. And you got to remember, everything that you do in life matters. Most of the time, Toby, you don't know the difference you're making in somebody's life. But keep doing what you're doing as long as you're serving the greater purpose.
Right, I love it. That sounds like a great book. Do you have an internet tool like an Evernote that you're in love with that you can share with our audience?
No, I don't. You can visit our website. We get some really cools on the back end of our website, for our clients for efficiency. We leave all the technology to all the other consultants and coaches out there to bug our people down. Evernote's a great one. Okay, but as long as we look at the technologies, there's so many great tools out there. Like Google Hangouts. Okay, is a great one. We do a lot of video coaching calls now. And so I love that, in Google Hangouts, I can bring 3 or 4 different clients together on one call, and we can all see each other. It really makes, not having to go to seminars. I can have a little seminar right here in my office. So and I think something like that, or even Skype, okay, or FaceTime, okay, just tools that said they can have a, FaceTime with a seller who wants to list their house who's on vacation.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's funny is I'm trying to get actually an expert, a Google Hangouts expert, on the show to talk about specifically how agents can use that, because that's a new tool that's free. That's pretty fascinating.
Well, it really is. Skype has an upgraded version to bring in multiple people. I can do Skype calls. That's free also. But let's say I have a seller, and one's, you can't get the 2 couples together, decision makers, because one's in California, the other's in Colorado on a business trip. Why don't you just do Google Hangouts and do your listing presentation right there?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
For you, Bob, do you have any personal habits that have contributed to your success?
I would say waking up with a positive attitude. That number one is the affirmations I say every single day. That's my personal habit. And that's about it. I read my Bible every single day. Okay, that's personal habit. Gets me in the right mindset. Remind me why I'm here and what I'm doing. Other than that, it's about my children, my grandchildren, and my wife.
I bet you're great.
I said it. Here's a great habit. Okay, I said to my wife, usually because I'm a reformed workaholic. Okay, and I said to her, honey, my coaching calls generally end, 4:30, 5 o'clock. However, there are some calls I need to take privately because the clients need to talk about things that are personal and they don't want team members around. I promise every day I'll be home between 5:06 and 5:08 every single day. We can talk about your day and my day, okay, but on Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm going to have to do phone calls from 5:30 to 6:30. Can I have your permission for that?
Right.
So I get home at 5:08. If I'm going to be late, I let her know. We spend 20 minutes together going over her day, my day, what's going on tonight, who do I need to talk to tonight. I'm doing an hour phone call, and then it's all Brenda. Outside of that, I'm sorry. It's going to have to take a pretty big exception to cut into my personal time with my wife.
That's great, and I'll bet
it makes it easier when you're an empty nester too.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, I bet you are like the grandpa that everybody, all your grandkids just have a ball with.
Absolutely, and it's I take about 9 weeks vacation a year. You're talking to somebody who would never go on vacation, hated vacation, thought it was a waste of time.
Right.
But boy, It's just time alone with my wife in different parts of the world. And, people, the guy that I told you went from 62 transactions to 400 at 35 years old, hadn't been on vacation in 7 years. This year he'll take 6 weeks vacation. You know what? How bad do you want something, Toby?
Yeah.
And that's what we really want to part, with the listeners. Why are you doing this? And identify the simple reason of why you are in real estate. And it doesn't have to be as hard as you think. If you think it's hard, give me a call. I'll show you how it's not.
I love it, man. Well, Bob, our last question here, and then we'll sign off. Well, you can let us know where we can find you. But what are the first 3 steps a new agent should do to begin building his business in the next 10 days?
In the next 10 days for a new agent. Number one, I'm going to tell you to get a contact management system.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you to get everybody you know and enter them into that contact management system, or hire somebody to enter all the data: name, address, phone number, and email address. That's number one. Number two, let everybody that you know, I don't care how you know them, but let everybody that you know, let them know you're in real estate.
Right.
Number three, put together an ideal weekly schedule of how you're going to perform your work day every single day. What day are you going to take off? Okay, put it in your schedule and stick to it. So those are your top 3 things.
I love it.
Actually, it should be schedule first. Okay, then get the contact manager, and then enter and let everybody know you're in real estate.
Okay. I'll rearrange that. And again, for everybody, you can find that on the show notes at superagentslive.com/Bob Corcoran. Well, Bob, let us know where we can find you, and we'll sign off.
You can visit us at www.corcoran, CORCORAN, coaching.com, or email bob@corcorancoaching.com. Phone us at 1-800-957-8353.
Bob, thanks for coming on the show. I can't tell you how much I love it, and I'm confident that everybody in the audience just resonated with this, with you and everything you said. So thanks again, and I certainly hope that a bunch of people in the audience can get on your website. There's a lot of videos there that I actually learned a lot about you and what you guys are doing from your quick video. So I love it.
Excellent. I appreciate it, Toby. And until next time, have a prosperous mind.
All right. Hey, thanks, Bob.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.
What an inspiring episode. The main piece I got out of Bob's interview is that it's all about mindset. Change your mindset and you can change your life. You will change your life. Swallow that frog. Do the hard thing first and get rid of all the negativity out of your life completely. I realized from this interview that coaching's not about delivering scripts or straight. It's not that tactical stuff, but it's getting people into the right mindset, a mindset of abundance and gratitude. I really hope you have enjoyed this session, this interview, as much as I have. I'm grateful, if I'm going to get into Bob's viewpoint, I'm grateful that I was able to spend an hour with Bob and to be able to share with you. So for you, if you found value in these coaching sessions, please take the time, leave a rating and review on iTunes, go tell your friends, and reach out. Send me an email. Tell me what you liked. Tell me how I can get better. Tell me what you want to hear. I respond to all of them, all those emails. And again, I told you in the beginning, I'll tell you again, my personal email is Toby, Toby, at superagentslive.com. Until next time, I personally thank you for listening to Super Agents Live.